Rama Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Krishna Chandra, Radha Krishna Chandra, Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe. Jayo Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jayo Krishna Balaram. Jayo Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gaurango, Jayo Nitai Gaurango. Jayo Prahlāda Narsimha, Jayo Sudarshana. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shat Shri Śrīmad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramhans Nitya Leela Pravishta His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai. नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय. मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय. नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय. जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय. गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय. वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय. श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय. श्री श्री निताय गौरांग की जय. श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंह देव की जय. श्री श्री सुदर्शन भगवान की जय. हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय. समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. ग्रंथरा Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam की जय. echo can be reduced. Echo is come. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 1st Canto, 11th chapter, text number 1. We are starting new chapter today. Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwaraka. Sutta uvacha anartan sa upavrijya anartan sa upavrijya svriddhan janapadan swakan svriddhan janapadan swakan dadhmau darvaram tesham dadmau darvaram tesham vishadam shamayan eva vishadam shamayan eva. Sutta uvacha anartan sa upavrijya Shriddhan janapadan swakan dadmau darvaram tesham vishadam shamayan niva. Sutta uvacha anartan sa upavrajya Shriddhan janapadan swakan dadmau darvaram tesham vishadam shamayan niva. Sutta uvacha anartan saupavrijya Shriddhan janapadan swakan dadmau darvaram tesham vishadam shamayan niva. Sutta uvacha anartan sa upavrijya Shriddhan janapadan swakan dadmau darvaram tesham vishadam shamayan niva. Sutta uvacha anartan sa upavrajya Shriddhan janapadan swakan dadmau darvaram tesham vishadam shamayan niva. Sutta uvacha Sutta Goswami said, Anartan, the country known as Anartan, Dwaraka, Saha, he, Upavrajya, reaching the border of, Svriddhan, most prosperous, Janapadan, city, Svakan, his own. Dadmau, sounded. Daravaram, the auspicious conch shell. Panchajanya, Tesham, of them. Vishadam, dejection. Shamayan, pacifying. Eva, seemingly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anarthas, Dwaraka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Please repeat. Suta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anarthas, Dwaraka, the Lord sounded his auspicious conch shell, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. Purport. The beloved Lord was away from his own prosperous metropolis of Dwaraka for a considerably long period because of the battle of Kurukshetra, and thus all the inhabitants were overcome with melancholia due to the separation. When the Lord descends on the earth, his eternal associates also come with him, just as the entourage of a king accompanies him. The associates of the Lord are eternally liberated souls, and they cannot bear the separation of the Lord even for a moment, because of intense affection for the Lord. Thus, the inhabitants of the city of Dwaraka were in a mood of dejection and expected the arrival of the Lord at any moment. So, the heralding sound of the auspicious conch shell was very encouraging, and apparently the sound pacified their dejection. They were still more aspirant to see the Lord amongst themselves, and all of them became alert to receive him in the befitting manner. These are the signs of spontaneous love of Godhead. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. There are two kinds of people who try to perfect their lives, but both are unable to do so. One category, Srila Prabhupada explains, is that of the empiric philosophers who try to speculate and try to understand what is truth. So using their own limited understanding, their intelligence, they think they will be able to understand Lord, although they cannot understand what is an atom or what is the planet closest to us. But they think they can understand the creator of the universe. So that is not sign of intelligence, but they think they are intelligent. So they are called Jnanis. So they can never understand God. And then there is another category. In India, you'll find many such people, and otherwise also. This category is sentimentalist. They think they have attained perfection of life. Sahajiya. They take things very easily. Bhakti is very easy. Need not read philosophy, need not understand books. And if I can have some emotions for Krishna, then I am perfect. I have realized God. So both of them cannot understand God. So that is why a very apt title was given to Srila Prabhupada, that of Bhakti Vedanta. So the bhakti should be based on Vedanta, the Vedic knowledge. Otherwise it is told in the scripture, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. Bhakti which is not based on Shruti, Smriti, Puran Adi. These are various authorized books. There is Shruti, which means the four Vedas or the Upanishads. There is Smriti, which means the Puranas, Itihas, Adi. And there are other bona fide literatures, Tantras, etc. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Adi, Pancharatra Vidhi, very important literature. Vidhim Vina. So, bhakti has to be followed by following a Vidhi. What is Vidhi? So here the situation that we see, the situation of melancholy, a great distress of the inhabitants of Dwaraka. They were expecting Krishna's arrival at any moment. They could not bear separation from Krishna even for a moment. So these are the signs of ecstatic love of God. Prabhupada explains, these are the signs of spontaneous love of God. This is called Prema Bhakti. This is our constitutional position and the perfection that we want to attain now. But this situation is attained by following Vedhi Bhakti, by following the rules and regulations. Without following the rules and regulations, nobody can rise to spontaneous platform. So those who think, I need not follow rules and regulations, but I am also, or I can arrive, or I am already at the spontaneous platform, they are called Sahajiya. Sahaj means taking things very easily. So it is not easy. That is why Pancharatra Vidhi has been given specially for this age, where people are very fallen, where Vedic rules and regulations cannot be followed very strictly. But Vidhi has to be followed. Very strictly we have to follow the rules and regulations. But no, see, I am already having symptoms of ecstasy, same as Dwaraka Vasis. And yes, some people practice the display of such symptoms. So as soon as they hear Krishna's name, I may feel ecstasy, and I will also roll on the ground, and I will have all these things. So some people practice this on an external platform. On a material platform, it can be practiced, as the symptoms are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. The skin is burning, the throat is getting choked up, and hairs are standing on it, and goosebumps. So these are the symptoms of ecstasy. So is Arjuna in ecstasy? No. So these symptoms are also because of material attachment. So Arjuna is grief-stricken that I have to fight with these people, I have to kill. At the prospect of thinking that I have to kill my family members, Arjuna is very much worried and he is having a nervous breakdown. So these are the symptoms of great material attachment. And similar is the manifestation of symptoms of spontaneous love of God. So that is why one has to be very expert. But it is important that that love of God is not a sentiment, it is a science. Science means there are specific symptoms of it. It is not something just like there are symptoms of any disease. Similarly, there are symptoms of a person having love of God. So thus one has to carefully understand. If somebody is thinking that yes, I have come to the platform of Prema Bhakti. I need not follow rules, regulations, understand the philosophy. I am already perfect. Yes, those who are perfect, they need not understand. They have already understood everything. So how do we understand whether a person is perfect or not? That is why Bhagavad Gita is so relevant. When Krishna explained to Arjuna the fundamentals of spiritual life and to come to platform of divinity, Arjuna asked, what are the symptoms of a person who is having this divine consciousness? Where does Arjuna ask? Second chapter. Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhi sthasya keshava. One who is situated in such samadhi that one is completely absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna, Sthita pragya he is called. His intelligence is fixed. Intelligence of materialist is never fixed. It is on the material platform. So the intelligence is fixed on the spiritual platform that he is called Sthita pragya. Ka bhasha samadhi sthasya keshava. Who is situated in such samadhi, what are the symptoms? So what does Lord Krishna describe? From here we can understand whether a person is actually perfect or he is simply having sentimental emotional display. So first symptom Prabhupada explains is, Arjuna also asks, Ka bhasha? What does he speak? How does he speak? And what is his language? So of all the symptoms, the most important symptom is language. That is why it is told, Guru or the saintly person should be seen from the ears and not from the eyes. One will be mistaken. If one sees external behavior, one follows the eyes. That is why whole world is getting mistaken. So that is why it is told in the moral instructions that a fool is fool as long as he does not speak. Somebody can behave like a nice sadhu. So there is this organization of which I was part of. I was following there. They also try to follow spiritual life. And we have various practices that they keep Maun silence for many, many days. And so when they came to Jaipur, one of their sadhus, so we had one of our devotees, he met them. We were having a common sympathizer, supporter. He was staying at his place and Prabhu was going to preach him, cultivate him. So he met him and he wanted to understand whether he is genuine or not. So he was trying to understand, trying to ask. But he was not talking anything. So Prabhu told that he is not speaking at all. So, because as soon as you talk, you will be caught. So, and then eventually he was caught when he started talking. So thus you can display yourself as a very intelligent man, as a very learned person, but as soon as you talk, then you will be caught. Whether you're talking as per the instructions of Krishna or you're talking something else. So that is why speech is the first symptom. A person who is having Sthita Pragya, who is having Krishna consciousness, he will always talk of Krishna. And what kind of talk of Krishna? Many people may talk of Krishna. And finally they say, I am Krishna or Krishna is somebody else. No. They will talk of Krishna understanding the actual position of Krishna. And what is actual position of Krishna? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhavas samanvitaha. So Krishna is also telling in Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, the most important 4 verses which are the seed of entire Bhagavad Gita, that yes, bhava samanvita is important. One must feel emotions for Krishna, but this is very advanced stage. And this advanced stage is based on the perfect understanding of Krishna, and that is aham sarvasya prabhavo. I am the source of all manifestations. Matta sarvam pravartate. So when one is thoroughly convinced that entire manifestation is coming from Krishna and it is controlled by Krishna, iti matva bhajante mam, such people engage in my bhajan, my service. Buddha, who are very, very learned, Buddha bhavas samanvitaha, such learned people, they are able to worship me with great bhava, ecstatic emotions. So thus understanding scientifically the position of Krishna is very, very important. Otherwise, unless one talks, one will not be able to understand. So one should not get carried away by the external symptoms. One should try to hear, and by hearing one should make out how good sadhu a person is, or whether a person is sadhu or not. This is the first symptom. He will be talking of Krishna and pure devotional service for Krishna, nothing else. No material benefit. He will be talking the same thing. Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Think of me, become my devotee. Sarv dharman parityajya. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me completely. So these are the words of Krishna, and a sadhu simply repeats these instructions. This is the first symptom. And then if you are convinced like this, then other symptoms which Krishna mentions, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now Krishna is describing what is the situation of a person, Samadhi Sasya Keshava, who is in Samadhi, who is having perfect Krishna consciousness. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogatan atmannevatmana tushta sthita prajñas tadochyate. First symptom is Prajahati kaman. He will give up all material desires, all desires of sensual enjoyment. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogatan. Why he will give up? It does not mean he becomes desireless. He gives up desires which are material in nature, which are actually mental concoctions. So Sanatana Goswami, when he traveled to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went from Vrindavan. He went and then he had to cross jungle, forest. He could not eat very nicely, and he had to drink water from here and there. And thus he developed wet sores on his body, which were oozing pus, and thus very foul smell would come of body of Sanatana Goswami. And the smell was so bad that people might not be able to even come around him. And then he eventually, when he saw this thing has happened to me, then he told, anyway, I was having a bad association. In the association of meat eaters, I fell. And I am having a low birth, low life, and now my body has also become useless. It is of no use in the service of Jagannath. What is the use of this life? In this way he was lamenting. But anyway, his lamentation increased even more when he saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming and embracing him, because Sanatana Goswami is very advanced devotee. And as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace him. And Sanatana Goswami would feel very bad that people cannot even wander around me, and here the wet, my pus from my body, it is touching body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Supreme Lord. I am completely useless. Instead of rendering any service, anyway I cannot render any service, but rather I am creating this great offense. So then Sanatana Goswami decided to commit suicide. There is no use of this body. Let me die. I will see Lord Jagannath when he comes out on the Ratha, and then I will come under the wheel of Ratha and leave my body. In this way he decided. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, any time he would go to meet Sanatana Goswami, he was living with Haridas Thakur. He would embrace him. And then Sanatana Goswami, he felt very bad finally one day. And then eventually this topic came up. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told that, so in between what happened, long story short, he discussed with Jagadanand Pandit, another very close associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is incarnation of Satyabhama, one of the principal queens of Krishna. So Jagadanand Pandit, Sanatana Goswami, they were discussing, and he told, this is my situation, what do I do now? Instead of rendering service to Lord Chaitanya, I am causing this great offense. So Jagadanand Pandit told him, yes, better you go to Vrindavan. So he told, yes, it is nice suggestion. If I go, I will be able to avoid this offense. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami expressed that I have discussed with Jagadanand Pandit and he has recommended me to go to Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu became very angry. That Jagat, that young boy, he has told like this, you are on the level of a spiritual master and he dare speak to you like this, that you go to Vrindavan? And when Sanatana Goswami heard this, then he became morose, and then he told, Now I know that you consider me an external. And now I know your favor towards Jagadanand Pandit. A person chastises only people who are close to him. So Jagadanand is so close to him, he is so dear to you that you are able to chastise him. And you consider me external, thus you offer me respects. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became embarrassed when he heard this. And then he told, no, that is not fact. But this is fact. We chastise only people who are close to us. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became little embarrassed when he heard this statement from Sanatana Goswami. And then he told, no, don't feel like this. And actually, this is not the situation. Now understand, Sanatan, what is my mind? So actually, I do not feel any bad fragrance at all when I touch you and embrace you. Rather, I feel the smell of sandalwood when I embrace your body. Your body is completely spiritual in nature. It has got no material contamination. You can purify entire universe. What to speak of your body getting contaminated? So thus, this is called spiritual vision. From a material platform, that is why it is told, out of 11 verses, Rupa Goswami has explained this verse, that the body of a Vaishnava should not be considered material. Although from material eyes, we will perceive the body as material. We may perceive the defects, that they are also having the similar defects. See, Sanatana Goswami, you are telling is liberated person, he is having sinful life, he is having sinful reactions on his body. How you can tell he is eternal associate of the Lord? Chol no. Drishtaya swabhava janitaya vapuchascha loke. Drishtaya swabhava janitaya. From one's material conditioning, one will develop certain perception of the pure Vaishnava. Vapushascha doshe. Vapu means body. And one will find doshe, faults in the body of a pure Vaishnava. But these faults are because of our material vision. Drishtaya swabhava janitaya vapushascha doshe. But it is told just like Ganges, one does not see any contamination in it. Similarly, the body of a pure Vaishnava is completely spiritual. And one should not see material contaminations. And thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having real perception of the body of a Vaishnava. What is the real perception? As soon as such body is seen, as soon as such body is touched, one immediately is able to remember Krishna and he is able to feel spiritual ecstasy. But on material platform, one might find material faults. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling that, I am getting the fragrance of sandalwood from your body. Your body is completely spiritual. And thus I do not feel at all what you are talking, the pus and the contamination. It is completely pure in nature. So that is why when in perfect question, perfect answers we have understood. When the discussion was about a prasadam, that whether a devotee can avoid certain kind of prasadam, let's say chili we have, it is pungent in nature. So because it is prasadam coming from Krishna, should we still eat it? So Prabhupada told, yes, it is completely spiritual, but as long as we are not on the spiritual platform, we have to discriminate. Because we are not on the spiritual platform, that is why we have to see what suits our body. We may avoid certain things even though it is prasadam. We have to see what is good for our health. Otherwise, it is completely prasadam, and a pure devotee does not discriminate. This is pungent, this is chili, this is good, this is bad. Anything coming from Krishna is. Thus, Madhavendra Puri, he ate the sweet rice, he ate the pot of sweet rice also. Everything is prasadam. But we cannot imitate such exalted behavior. And then Mahaprabhu explained another important concept. Even though I consider, okay, from the material perspective, let's say your body is not spiritual, then even from the material perspective, I am sannyasi. And a sannyasi is not supposed to discriminate that this is good and this is bad. And then he explained the various very famous shlokas which Srila Prabhupada explains many, many times. Dvaite bhadra bhadra jnana, ei sab manodharma, ei bhalo, ei manda, ei sab brahma. Dvaite, this duality, that this is good and this is bad. Bhadra bhadra jnana. Ei sab manodharma, this is mental concoction. Just like in a dream, if I think that I have fallen in a ditch, or if I think something is good, Does it make any sense? Becoming rich in good, is it good? Rich in dream, is it good? Or becoming poor in dream, is it bad? No. In dream it does not matter because it is only illusion. Similarly, now here also, this is a gross dream. Everything is illusion here. Simply because of bodily concept of life. This is called manodharma. We come into this manodharma. We think something is good and another something else is bad. We try to avoid things which are bad and we try to hanker after things which are apparently good. Nothing is good and nothing is bad. This is called liberated platform. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta. Only those who have stopped acting sinfully and are acting piously, they are able to come out of this duality of good and bad. So good and bad, something is good, something is favorable, something is unfavorable. This is only felt in illusion. When I am in illusion, I am this body. So only because of illusion of dream, this is also dream, gross dream. So that is why our desires are called manogatan, mental concoction. In a dream, everything is mental concoction. Similarly, here also it is only mental concoction that I perceive something favorable, perceive another thing, and thus I develop kaman, various material desires. So prajahati yada kaman. So the first symptom of a liberated personality is prajahati, gives up all such desires which are the result of mental concoction. There is no desire to get something. There is no desire to avoid anything. So thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, I am sannyasi. A sannyasi is supposed to be on a liberated platform. So on liberated platform, I cannot perceive something as favorable, another thing as unfavorable. How can I avoid your body, seeing that it is bad? There is nothing good or bad for sannyasi. This is called liberated platform, which we have to attain in this life. So the first symptom is, one does not have any material desire to avoid something to gain anything. Atmannev atmana tushta sita prajnastadochyate. Such a person is satisfied in his own self. There is nothing to gain, nothing to lose for a devotee. His only desire is to serve Krishna with each and every moment and breath of his life. So if I am having any material desire, some calculation, let me have this thing in life or let me avoid this thing in life, then we are not still on the Sthita Prajna platform. Next. Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha sukkheshu vigata sprihaha. One is not disturbed by dukkha or sukha. So-called misery does not affect a sthita prajna. And in a situation of happiness, one does not become happy. If somebody tells us in the dream tonight you are going to be very, very rich, shall we become happy? Or in the dream tonight, all your family members will die. Shall we cry? Oh, what is going to happen? I am going to lose everyone in dream. No. So thus Bhagavatam explains, a person does not become happy for gaining some money in dream and does not lament when he wakes up. Similarly, during the dream also, there is no reason to become happy or lament. So that should be the situation of a person here. One should not aspire for any material gain. And one should not get distressed on the loss of anything. It is just a dream, temporary perception. So thus dukkheshu anudvigna manaha, mind is not disturbed in any misery. And sukkheshu vigata sprihaha, one does not desire material happiness. Vita raga bhaya krodha sitadhir munirchyate. Vita raga bhaya krodha. One is freed from rag, means attachment. One does not have any attachment. This is my father, my children, my mother, my dog, my cat. One understands nothing is mine. These are all simply temporary external dresses. In illusion, I am thinking the soul in this dress belongs to me. Does not. We all belong to Krishna. In this way, we are related to each other as parts and parcels of Krishna. Otherwise, one does not have any family. Family, nation, this is all illusion. It keeps on changing. It is a temporary structure. So thus one does not have any attachment to anybody in this world. Vita raga. And there is no attachment, and thus there is no fear. We are fearful because of attachment here in this world. I may lose my objects of attachment, my situation of attachment. my property, my wealth, my people. So thus one is completely freed of fear. One is not even attached to the body. So one is completely fearless, Prabhupada explains. Because we understand I am eternal, where is the question of fear for a devotee? I am eternal. What is profit? What is loss? And krodha, one is freed from anger also. Why one is free from anger? Anger arises when the lust is not fulfilled, material desires are not fulfilled. Because a Sthita Prajna devotee does not have any material desire, where is the question of anger? There is no question of material desires not getting fulfilled. Thus he is freed from anger. So Rag, Bhaya, Krodha, one has to analyze. Am I completely freed of anger? Am I completely freed of lust, material desires, attachment, fear? Then I can understand, yes, I am on liberated platform. Yas sarvatranabhisnehas tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. He who is without attachment, sarvatra anabhisneha. Anabhisneha means attachment, anabhisneha, without attachment. So that's Krishna is repeating over and over again many times, without attachment, without attachment, without attachment. So getting freedom from attachment, this is the purpose of all work. This is the definition of work we are discussing yesterday in the class. In the Vishnu Puran, work is defined as an activity which gives you detachment. Work is not something which will entangle you. Work means, karma means that activity which brings you yanna bandhaya, karma yanna bandhaya, which gives you detachment. So getting detached is very, very important for spiritual advancement. One who does not rejoice when he obtains good. So why Krishna is repeating these instructions? Because these are very, very important. Repetition means something is important. Similar things Krishna has repeated in entire Bhagavad Gita. Because Krishna knows, even though I talk, they will not understand. One should not desire anything good. Actually, there is nothing good here. Desire anything good is as foolish as a person desires to get something in dream or avoid something in dream. Tat tat prapya shubha shubham. There is nothing shubh and ashubh. Everything is ashubh here. Everything is inauspicious because we have forgotten our real situation of ecstatic love. 24 hours engagement in the service of Krishna, we have forgotten. So everything is inauspicious here. So shubh and ashubh does not matter for a devotee. Na abhinandati, na dveshti. He does not rejoice when he obtains good, does not lament when he obtains evil. He is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Yada samharate chayam kurmo angani va sarvashaha indriyan indriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. So what does a person do? He simply sleeps. Let me not act for getting anything in life. Let me not act to avoid anything. No, he acts. How does he act? Like a tortoise. Tortoise, when it is required, it will extend its limbs outside. Otherwise, it will pull it inside in the shell. One who is able to withdraw his senses, yada samharate chayam kurma. Kurma is tortoise. Angani va sarvashaha. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. So one has to use senses very perfectly. Arjuna used his senses to fight. So thus a devotee uses his senses perfectly in the service of Krishna, but not for material sense gratification. So for Krishna's service, one has to be very expert, very hardworking, very much endeavoring and laborious. But for sense gratification, one is callous. One draws the senses inside. One does not indulge in sense object. So thus these are the symptoms. So one should see whether I have attained these symptoms, then yes, then I am on the platform. Otherwise, I have to follow Vidhi Bhakti. I have to follow the rules and regulations. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. I have to become very, very learned. If I don't become learned in the Vedanta, so bhakti which is not based on philosophy, then such a bhakti is considered sentimental. They will attain after a long time because they are on the path. Yes, Both of them, either the impersonalist or the empiric philosopher, because they are trying to understand what is truth. Another person also is anyway sentimentally playing with doll of Krishna or deity of Krishna or somehow trying to chant, and they will also attain because they are trying to approach Krishna, but they will take a very, very long time, many, many years to perfect, or many lives. But if one understands the philosophy very nicely, understands the position of Krishna and then follows, then in this life one can attain perfection. But this understanding is not very easy. That is why the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. What is the first shloka? Who has spoken first shloka? Dhritarashtra. He has spoken only one shloka. And his position is also very, very unique. There is nobody like Dhritarashtra. Why? What is the situation? Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvata sanjaya. What he is asking? He is doing his calculation. What calculation is doing? He wants that war should happen at any cost. Even though they have assembled on Kurukshetra, which is Dharma Kshetra, where Lord Krishna is personally present, he wants war should happen. And the people who are dear to Krishna should lose. And my son should be victorious. So he is very eager. What did they do? Did they fight or not? Because Krishna was present. This is Dharma Kshetra. They can get influenced by the positivity of the place. They may decide not to fight. So this should not happen. He is very anxious. Did they fight or not? He is very anxious. Just like the materialist becomes anxious when he sees there are overcast conditions. Cricket match may or may not happen. Did they play or not? He is very anxious. So Dhritarashtra is similarly anxious. And Dhritarashtra is a person who knows that Krishna is God. So Vidur is telling, why don't you take shelter? You know that Krishna is God. So he tells you, I know Krishna is God, but only when Krishna desires, I will take his shelter. Only when Krishna desires, he will give me wisdom one day, then I will surrender to Krishna. So this is the situation of most of us in Krishna consciousness movement. Even though we have understood that Krishna is God, we continue like Dhritarashtra. Yes, I know Krishna is God. At least we are not Duryodhan. Duryodhan was not knowing that Krishna is God. So we are like Dhritarashtra. I know Krishna is God. When Krishna gives me intelligence, I will surrender. Now let me continue earning money. Let me continue my attachments. Let me continue with my calculations. This is good and this is bad. And so we should try to open our eyes, open our spiritual eyes, and it is not easy. Why Dhritarashtra could not surrender to Krishna? Even though he is knowing Krishna is God, he was having material calculation. Too much. Why he was having this thing? Because of too much material attachment with his sons. He tells, I cannot help Vidura. I know I am doing wrong. I know Pandavas are right, but still I will kill Pandavas. Because I am very much attached to my sons. I want them to rule. So that is why these material attachments are very dangerous. And it is not easy to come out of these material attachments, which are because of the concept of duality. So who can come out of this duality? Only one who has got mercy of the spiritual master. Sansara davana lidloka tranaya karone ghana ghanatma. Only, there is no other way. That is why if somebody tells I am very advanced without surrendering to the spiritual master, one should immediately understand this is all not right. Without following the rules and regulations and pleasing, completely satisfying the spiritual master, surrendering to a spiritual master, such a state is not possible at all. So that is why Prabhupada explains this is important. Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that what is bhakti, what is actual bhakti by which we can please the spiritual master. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, when you go out and meet opposing elements, it is not easy. One can stay in one place silently and chant Hare Krishna and advance. Prabhupada told, no, that is not going to help you. Let me stay conveniently in my place and chant Hare Krishna, do Hari Bhajan. So it explains, no, Vishwanath Chakravarti, what is our parampara, what is our sampradaya? Without mercy of spiritual master, you cannot move forward an inch in spiritual life. And if you have to please spiritual master, you have to follow the footsteps of the spiritual master. Nityanand Prabhu is original spiritual master. So if you have to receive Nityanand Prabhu's mercy, spiritual master's mercy, you have to follow in their footsteps. What are the footsteps? Nityanand Prabhu was going door to door. Haridas Thakur was going door to door and begging people, trying to convince people. And they got attacked also. And there was physical attack. And there was bleeding. And in this way, Prabhupada explains, we can please Nityanand Prabhu. When we go out and try to make people devotees, request them, go door to door and face opposing elements. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, in this way when we go out, this is cultivation of bhakti. Sometimes when we face opposing elements, we may face defeat. Our arguments will be defeated. So bhakti is a fight, it is a war. So this is not out of cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Rather, this is real cultivation of Krishna consciousness. If I think comfortably I can live and I can advance in spiritual life, like this we should not imitate. That is why my Guru Maharaj told, Manatumi Kishera Vaishnava Pratishtara Tare Nirjana Ghare Tava Harinam Kevala Kaitava. Simply for cheap adoration, you are telling that I chant so many times Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we have to understand, we have seen many cases. Some devotees who would chant very nicely. They would sit in one place and very silently in 3 hours, 3.5 hours, they will complete their 16 rounds. Very peacefully. They will sit down, close their eyes and they'll finish. Wonderful chanting. And they are not dozing off. It is not that they are chanting very peacefully, hearing each and every word very nicely. But they also could not surrender, could not advance. Although they are still trying to follow in some or the other format. So that is why we have to understand, chanting Hare Krishna will give us everything that we want. It will give us material benefit, whatever we want. So one should be very careful. If you have material desires, all those desires will be fulfilled. We will do excellent in material world also, if we have material desire, because Harinam is Krishna himself with all his energies. But then bhakti we will not get. Bhakti and mukti also Krishna will give. We will be in trance, but that is impersonal trance. One can attain that impersonal trance also by chanting Hare Krishna. Your mind will be very peaceful. You will be floating by chanting Hare Krishna. But this is very different from the real effect of chanting Hare Krishna, which is engagement in ecstatic loving service of Krishna at every moment and complete surrender to Krishna. That will not awaken. So thus some devotees are able to very completely, very much absorb, although that is rare, but that is possible by practice. But such devotees also were doing so much of chanting, but we have seen they were not eager to render service. They were not very much willing to take struggles for Krishna, to preach, to work hard. And thus, on the other hand, we see devotees who are apparently not very careful about chanting, not able to chant very nicely. Somehow catch, although that should not be, we should be very careful, but they are very laborious, working very hard to serve Krishna. And they were able to advance very nice and able to develop extraordinary taste also for chanting Hare Krishna. So thus Prabhupada told, artificially we cannot and we should not try to become Krishna conscious. Manatumi Kishere Vaishnava. It is not in your position. Thus Prabhupada told, go out and preach, work hard for Krishna. This is my Guru Maharaj policy. This is better than chanting Hare Krishna, than Prabhupada tells. So we have to understand, this will bring me real spiritual advancement. This is better than chanting Hare Krishna. Although we should not imitate advanced personalities like Arjuna, who just worked very hard for Krishna without chanting. We have to chant also. Unless we chant, we will not be able to work hard for Krishna, but we should come to this platform This is the real secret. It is an open secret. But unless we take shelter of a spiritual master, we will not be able to understand this secret. Krishna has openly declared, who is most dear to me? Who is most dear? One who preaches. Very clearly it is told. Nacha tasmat manu. But who preaches? Nobody preaches. You see in Krishna consciousness movement also, nobody preaches. Everyone chants, does deity worship, offers bhoga, eats prasadam, go to Vrindavan Dham, do Kartik, everything. But nobody preaches. Because it is uncomfortable activity. To go out, venture out, plan, execute, work hard, convince people. It is not easy. That is why it is called confidential. You keep on reading, keep on hearing. One will not realize, I have to do this thing. One will not realize. A small fraction are able to realize, and you see their spiritual advancement. Those who have worked very hard for preaching, they have advanced so fast, so quickly. So quickly they have advanced. They get all realization. They might not have even finished Bhagavad Gita. Little bit they will read and they will realize everything. And others have become great scholars, have spent many, many years in Krishna consciousness. But same, Dhritarashtra. What my sons will do, what my sons will get, what my daughters will get. This calculation goes on, what I will get. So we have to understand, Prabhupada tells, we have to please Acharyas. Acharyas will be pleased by this. We are not on the platform. Acharyas have shown by their own example. Haridas Thakur, before he took to chanting, he went door to door and he requested people to chant. He met with unfavorable elements. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, this is cultivation of Krishna consciousness. This is the tapasya that we have to take. Without tapasya, we cannot advance. It is not at all convenient to go and talk to strangers, start to convince people where nobody is interested in Krishna consciousness. It is not convenient. And when we go out, we see nobody is becoming devotee. I have touched 1,000 people, one has not become Krishna conscious. And then we will understand what is my position, because I am not spiritually powerful. Then we will increase our spiritual practices. Because when preaching fails, it is mainly because of lack of our spiritual potency. So then I'll understand what is my spiritual potency, not able to make one devotee. Then one works hard, takes care of his spiritual life. In this way we advance, we draw mercy. So thus this is the secret. So we have to try and we have to work very hard, go out, preach, try to convince people. Even though nobody is convinced, does not matter. We will advance, we will be able to draw mercy. And then eventually we will be able to convince people and make them devotees also. So by taking hardships for spreading Krishna consciousness in this way, one comes to the platform of Sita Prajna. Then Buddha Bhava Samanvita, then there would be real symptoms of love of God. So it cannot be attained in a very easy way, very convenient way, nor by doing speculation. But one has to follow the footsteps of the Acharyas and satisfy the Acharyas by our hard work. And in this way we'll be able to make spiritual advancement. So this is called real spiritual life. Follow the rules and regulations very nicely and then elevate gradually to spiritual perfection by pleasing the Acharyas. And then we also can hope to have such symptoms which the Dwaraka Vasis are having. Because they are eternal associates, they have come from the spiritual world with Krishna, and thus they cannot bear separation from Krishna even for a moment. We have to aspire for this platform, for this stage. And when Krishna was out, every moment they were expecting, now Krishna will come, now Krishna will come. In this way they are having apparent depression and melancholia, but actually it is spiritual ecstasy. And as soon as Krishna sounded his conch shell, immediately they became very enthused and jubilant. So we'll see further how they receive Lord Krishna in the kingdom. We will end here. Any questions? Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you mentioned that Guru must be realized from what he speaks and not what he does. But at the same time, we may see that there are so many so-called gurus in this world who have sort of dual nature. That means they will speak all sorts of philosophy, very nice to hear, and we will become convinced. But their activities itself is not aligned with what they are preaching. So how do we understand in this kind of situation?
They will not be able to talk like this. If we hear carefully, If the activities are like that, the speech also is the result of activities that we have. So they cannot talk nicely. Superficially they can talk that Prabhupada tells you are chanting Radhe Radhe. But who is Radha? Radha is the wife of Dhobi. So they are thinking of Dhobi's wife while chanting Radha and not Srimati Radharani. So thus Prabhupada tells, yes, they may chant so many things, they will tell like this, but if you hear continuously, then you will see what philosophy they are talking of. So nobody can repeat the words of Krishna unless they are actually on that platform. So if we hear, we will understand. They will talk of material things also. Yes, chant, but we have to have balance. Do dharma also nicely, do karma also nicely, do kama also nicely, do moksha also nicely. And then do bhakti also nicely. Have a balance. And like this, they will come to mundane platform ultimately and talk all these things. So that is why simply by hearing one can understand. Of course, one has to spend carefully more time in hearing them. Yes. In that you can talk so that online they can hear.
Prabhu, how to understand that while preaching one should not consider himself as a doer?
One should not consider himself
As a doer.
as the doer.
Yes, how to understand this?
It is easy because even while preaching or while doing any activity, I am not the doer. Prakritehe kriyamanani. Material nature is doing. I am simply instrument. Suppose I become brain dead, I will not be able to think, perceive anything. Or I get paralysis. Or if I get a different body, I will act differently. If I get body of a dog, what will I do? Start barking immediately. Yes? So thus we think that I am doing anything. I am not doing. Material nature is doing, and through the body given to us. So as per our body we behave helplessly. So similarly when we engage in preaching also, again we are doing Krishna's work under control of Srimati Radharani. So we are controlled in every way. So suppose this knowledge is not given to us, why shall we serve Krishna? So we are dependent on this knowledge. We are dependent on the realization of this knowledge, which is given by Krishna from the heart. So thus again Krishna is working, we are not working. So either Srimati Radharani is working or Durga Devi is working through us. We are always an instrument. So we can choose, I want to become instrument of Durga or Srimati Radharani.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, we see that Dhritarashtra was so much materially attached. But we also know that Dhritarashtra was a son of Vyasdev only. Even Vidura was son of Vyasdev.
Yes.
Even Shukadeva Goswami also son of Vyasdev.
Yes.
And Vyasdev is Krishna himself.
Yes.
So why there is so much difference between sons of Krishna directly?
So these are the important instructions. What to speak of when Krishna himself was there. Narakasura was his son. And he became demon, greatest demon. He is attacking his father. He is kidnapping all the princesses. So thus, these are the instructions. Even though you are son of Krishna, you can become a hardcore materialist. So that is why we have to be very, very cautious about our association.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, so in preaching, Prabhu, I am seeing very dangerous if you go out.
Pardon?
Say, it's very dangerous to go out and then preach.
Yes.
Because I am not so much controlled about my senses. So many Matajis come. So it becomes very dangerous because my attacks, right? So how to preach? Because the moment you get this kind of thinking in the mind and then you get, you feel bad. So it becomes very difficult to preach. You maybe half an hour, 1 hour you spend, immediately come back. You do your chanting and other things. So this is a challenge in the preaching. Yeah? Because in the time of Haridas Thakur, it's not like that. They were preaching in a very sober community, right? Now if you go out and then preach, Matajis are almost half naked, right? So it is far more difficult, dangerous.
Yes.
In fact, I may lose my Krishna consciousness. That's the kind of feeling I get whenever I go out for preaching. What is your suggestion?
And when we go to office?
Yeah, so office, it's not so much bad, I would say, because I have very focused work. I have my work and then...
Okay, your office is nice.
And different. And then it's exactly same question devotees asked. how will you go to office? I go to my office, my desk, and then full time I sit in my desk and I do my job, and then I will have my prasadam
So
alone.
similarly, when we go outside, we should try to go to a place where people are not half or full naked, where they are wearing clothes, and there we can go and preach to them. In Hiranandani, there is a garden here. You go there, you find young couples sitting and kissing each other. Don't go there to preach. There are other places. Go outside a CrossWord store or some other place. Go to Starbucks where people are sitting doing some work. There you can preach. Go outside D-Mart. People have come to purchase. They come with good clothes over there. Like this, we can go to favorable places.
One another question I have, Prabhu. In Krishna consciousness, there are two kinds of Anandis, Goshti Anandi and Bhajana Anandis.
So, just to continue further, yes. So, some devotees would ask this thing that, Prabhupada, I go outside and I may get carried away. So, no. When we are going out for preaching, we are conducted by internal potency. Yes, sometimes there could be some these distractions anyway. But if we continue preaching, all these distractions gradually will go away. It will happen only when we go out and when we preach. Then we will not be disturbed. Rather, other person will become devotee. Preaching is so powerful. Thus, even the devotees were very new. Even the new devotees, especially in the Western countries, Prabhupada told, Ajamil saw one rotten couple, and now this scene is everywhere in this age. But did Prabhupada tell you stay in the temple, you are a new devotee? Prabhupada told no, new devotees also should go out for book distribution. In that way, they'll become very strong and advanced. So it appears that it is disturbing, but if we continue having faith on the spiritual master, of course, as I discussed, we should be discriminating. That don't go on a beach to preach where people are without many clothes. You might get more disturbed. Don't go in a bar to preach. So in this way, we should try to discriminate, but we must go out, Prabhupada told. By that, we become very strong and all these things will stop affecting us. So it is understood. Initially, we might get disturbed by all these things, but by praying to Prabhupada, following the rules and regulations nicely, and going out seriously to preach, we'll stop getting affected.
There are two kinds of devotees mentioned too, Goshti Anandi and Bhajana Anandi. Many times we also hear some of the devotees, pure devotees, don't even come out. Are they not pure devotees? How is that allowed, first of all? Because preaching is very important. We are seeing Mahaprabhu's direct instructions, Yadeko Taraka Krishna Upadesh. But how they are doing preaching, what is, why those kind of devotees exist?
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So, there are two kinds of devotees, Bhajananandi and Goshtianandi. Bhajananandi means they just take pleasure in bhajan, in chanting and hearing the name of Krishna. Another category is Goshtianandi, who take pleasure in expanding the number of devotees, increasing the number of devotees. And we come in the split succession of Goshtianandis. We want to go preach. Why Bhajananandi does not preach, Prabhupada explains. So Bhajananandi thinks, I am not capable of preaching, one thing. One thing is, he thinks everybody is a devotee whom to preach. Only I am non-devotee. So this is one understanding. That whole world is devotee and only I am non-devotee. Only I am not engaged in service of Krishna. This very exalted platform. So such a person may not preach. And another understanding is, he thinks, I am so fallen, I have no potency, what will I preach? Let me do my bhajan only. So in this way, he does not preach. But we cannot become Bhajananandi by doing bhajan in this age. In earlier ages, some other time, we would have become Bhajananandi by doing bhajan. But now, our bodies are active, as Arjuna told. Krishna, I want to become, same thing, Bhajananandi. I want to take sannyas, I don't want to fight. Arjuna told same question. So Krishna told, you will not be able to take sannyas because you have got body of a kshatriya, prakriti kriyamanani, as we just discussed. Now you are declining to fight. This is because of material attachment. Later you will anyway fight because you have got body of kshatriya. So now if you fight according to my instructions, you will get the credit. Your life would be glorious. So in a similar way, our bodies are filled with rajas and tamas. If we sit down and try to do bhajan in one place, what will happen? Prabhupada tells, you will think of women and money. So it is not, and we have seen also, like I just discussed, many cases who are doing very nice bhajan, sitting and doing, but not doing service, not working very hard for Krishna, they could not advance much in Krishna consciousness. So that is why Prabhupada has told this is the way. So one thing is, this is one understanding, that our bodies are anyway filled with rajas and tamas. So we have to work. So work for Krishna. Anyway, we are working, all of us, very hard in Kali Yuga. So use this tendency in the service of Krishna. This is the way to reach platform. So we can see Phalena Parichiyate. Let people do bhajan, and then you see what is their consciousness. They'll be still stuck on the material platform. Prabhupada says he is living in Vrindavan, just like a monkey is living in Vrindavan. He is eating fruits and everything, but he is having a dozen more female monkeys around him. So apparently he'll be a sadhu eating on only fruits and milks, but then not having good character, having all material desires. So thus for us people in Kali Yuga, it is very important to dovetail the nature of our body that we have in the service of Krishna. Second thing is, if we follow this sampradaya, this parampara, we have to satisfy our acharyas. And our acharyas are satisfied when we preach. And not just our acharyas. Yes, we have got the most exalted understanding. That is why the greatest spiritual position is attained by following this sampradaya. Respect to everyone who is a devotee of Krishna. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and then he summarized everything. He summarized all the four Vaishnava sampradayas and he gave this philosophy. So thus we should not get deviated by this sampradaya, that sampradaya. We should understand what is perfect. When Krishna is very clearly told that there is nobody dear to me than the one who preaches. Has Krishna told there is nobody dear to me than the one who chants always? No. Krishna is very clearly told in Bhagavad Gita. So that is why one should not think, oh, that is one sampradaya, this is another sampradaya, I have this understanding, they have that understanding. Yes, they are different moods of serving Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he gave the culmination of all the four sampradayas. So it is not exactly Madhva Sampradaya also, although it is based on Madhvacharya's philosophy. So Gaudiya Sampradaya, this Sampradaya, it is different exactly from Tattvavadis who follow the Madhva succession. It is summary of all the Sampradayas. And it is the perfection of instruction which has been given. And thus we can see who is following this Sampradaya of preaching. Nagaradigram, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told same thing. Sarvatra prachar hoibe mora naam. Amar Agyaya Guru Hayatayi Tarai Desh. On my order, you become spiritual master. So thus Prabhupada used very strong words. That you are telling, I do not go outside Vrindavan. What is this nonsense? Prabhupada used the word, what is this nonsense? Krishna has told, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told, Prithvi te aache. As many towns and villages are there across world. My name should be preached. And you are telling, I do not go out of Vrindavan. So have you understood Prabhupada? Have you understood Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told, on every town and village, as many towns and villages are across Prithvi te aache. Preaching should happen. If you do not go out of Vrindavan, then Amar Agyaya Guru Aya Tarai Desh. On my order you become Guru. So Mahaprabhu is telling, on my order become Guru and deliver the whole world. And the same instruction of Mahaprabhu is given by Krishna. Nobody is dearer than the person who preaches. So thus it is not about Bhajananandi or Goshtianandi or this sampradaya or that sampradaya. We have to follow what is there in the scriptures. Fortunately, we are in sampradaya which explains the perfection of all the knowledge of the scriptures. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam. In Kali Yuga, how Krishna has to be worshipped? There are many ways in which people worship Krishna, but Sumedha Saha, most intelligent people, how shall they worship Krishna? Yajna Sankirtana Prayar. They'll worship a unique form of Krishna who is Krishna Varnam, who is always chanting the name of Krishna. Which sampradaya worships the form of Lord who is always chanting? Followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is not sampradaya understanding. This is sampradaya understanding, but this is Bhagavat understanding. Bhagavatam tells in Kali Yuga you have to worship this form of the Lord who is Krishna Varnam, who is always chanting Krishna's name. Many people worship Krishna, but nobody's or very less people are able to understand. Of course, by Prabhupada's mercy now across the world we have devotees who worship this form of Krishna who is Krishna Varnam, who is always chanting Krishna's name, and whose complexion is a Krishnam, whose complexion is bright or golden, opposite to Krishna Varn, dark complexioned. So everyone worships dark complexioned. Sorry, dark complexioned Lord Krishna, everyone worships. But Lord Gauranga, sorry, even Krishna devotees do not know. So yes, they are good. But Sumedasa, who is most intelligent, who is Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam, who is worshipping him with his associates, Sango Pangasar Parya. And how do they worship? Sankirtan, Yajna Sankirtana Prayaya. They worship him by Sankirtan Yajna. Who takes this Sankirtan Yajna as the topmost action of spiritual life? Gaudiya Sampradaya. Others may do, but it is extra activity. So thus we have to understand, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he developed all the philosophies of Acharyas. Sripad Shankaracharya came, but this philosophy was for a particular situation. It is not supposed to be followed universally always for attaining the ultimate perfection. As we can see again, it is based on the scriptures. Janan mad vimukhan kuru. Go and make people averse to me. Mayavadam asa shastram. Preach the incorrect interpretation of the Vedas. So Shankaracharya cannot make mistake. He is Lord Shiva himself. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu, the greatest Vaishnava. So Prabhupada gives example. Once somebody's horse had a trouble. He got a bit swelling on the neck, the horse. So then the vet was called, that please cure my horse. So what did the vet do? He struck with hammer on the neck of the horse. And the swelling disappeared and horse became cured. So then another person who was observing, he told, it is so easy to become doctor, especially to cure swellings. Simply you have to go and strike with hammer. So he also became doctor. And whenever anybody would call, he would go and strike the swelling portion with a hammer. And then the patient would die. So after a couple of failure treatments, he approached his doctor. He told, when you struck the horse with hammer, the horse got cured. When I'm striking with hammer, the people are dying. So why this is happening? He told, you fool. That horse had swallowed a squash. Squash is pumpkin kind of, ashguard. So he swallowed the squash, that is why it got stuck in his neck. So that was the reason of the swelling. So when I struck with the hammer, that got broken into pieces and thus the horse was cured. So it was, this striking was for this particular situation. So like this, others who do not understand the particular situation, entire country was following Buddhism, they could not have taken to Vedas. People would not have followed, subscribed to Vedic understanding unless he would have given this particular interpretation of Vedas which suits the Buddhist understanding. But it is not for the perfection. Jesus gave understanding, it was not for perfection. He told, there are many things I cannot tell you because you cannot bear them now. Thus Shankaracharya told, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam bhaja mood mate. Foolish person, Bhaj Govinda. Your interpretations are not going to help you. Similarly, other acharyas also, step by step, they developed further. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being God himself, he came to establish Yuga Dharma, gave perfection of philosophy. So thus we understand that this is perfection of philosophy. Who follows Krishna, Varnam Tusha Krishnam, and this is the way. Chama Samuni told, Navyogendras told, Maharaj Nimi, long ago in Bhagavatam it is recorded. So thus these things are there in the scriptures, but it is confidential. That is why unless we take shelter of a bona fide parampara, we will not be able to understand that for Kali Yuga, this is the worship given. Why am I not following Sankirtan? Why am I not worshipping Lord Chaitanya? Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam, he is the only incarnation who chants the name of Krishna, whose complexion is not this thing, Krishna, dark. So why am I not following Bhagavatam? It is not about this sampradaya or that sampradaya, I am already following something. No. Understand that yes, this sampradaya is the perfection, culmination. So if I want perfection, I should try to follow it, follow these teachings. So I should worship Lord Chaitanya, I should follow the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, I should follow instructions of Krishna. Krishna is openly declared, nobody is dearer, bhavita na chame tashman. In the future also nobody shall be dearer than the one who preaches. So entire advancement of bhakti depends upon pleasing Krishna. And Krishna is most greatly pleased by a preacher. So thus we have to work very hard and follow in the footsteps of Acharyas. And these are the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And by this we can attain perfection. Yes.
I had a two-part question. So, does preaching at any point of time gets comfortable?
Yes, so preaching also becomes, yes, comfortable. So that is why we have to always keep on expanding our preaching.
So as we venture more or we take on more risk, bigger plans.
Bigger responsibilities, yes. Now I am able to make 100 people chant. Plan how can I make 1,000 people chant now? Plan how can I make 1 million people? Plan how can I make entire country Krishna conscious? How to make Prime Minister a devotee? So like this, we always increase our.
Last one is that...
it's a war, Prabhupada tells. Preaching is war. Do not think preaching is easy going. Singing, dancing, chanting, Hari Bol sometimes. So Prabhupada's preaching is war. In war there is risk. We have to take risk, Prabhupada tells. Krishna becomes very much pleased when he sees devotees are taking risk for me. So this is practical activity. Krishna is a person. When somebody takes risk for us, are we not pleased? So thus we have to take risk for Krishna. There is responsibility, there is risk, and there is danger. This is preaching. Just like in a war, a person keeps on taking greater risk. Now let me defeat this king also. Let me defeat that king also. Let me defeat third king also. Entire world, my rule should be there. So thus preaching is war. In this way we have to.
And I've seen like devotees who go out on book distribution. So when they are out, they feel a lot of bliss.
Yes.
When they are actually touching
Yes.
people and giving books and all. But the first thing that they feel that is the most hard is just going out.
Yes.
So they know that yes, on field I am very much blissful.
Yes.
But this one step, the first step, it is getting very hard.
Yes.
So what can devotees do about this?
So that is why we have to have Sankirtan going together, Prabhupada tells. So make a group and go out, at least one more person. If we are not feeling, other person will tell, Prabhu, it's time, let us go. On our own we may feel lazy. So form a group, decide and then go out. So thus that is a Sankirtan. Following an association is very, very important. We'll finish. Any questions? Sorry, online we could not take. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, in the translation, why is Dwaraka called city of Anarthas? Is there a pastime associated with it?
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, many times we see even though someone is preaching but is not advancing that much, not able to develop love for Krishna. It seems he is doing it on material platform. What is the advice for him?
Yes, so discussing preaching, we have to understand the preaching is based on chanting, hearing, following rules and regulations very nicely. If we ourselves are not following, what shall we preach? So thus, Sanatan Goswami told Haridas Thakur, some people behave very nicely, means they will follow regulative principles, rules and regulations very nicely, but they will not preach. Others, they preach but do not behave nicely, do not follow rules and regulations. But you are so nice that you behave, you follow, and then you preach also. This is what we have to do. We have to be very, very strict in following the rules and regulations and then preach. Then there would be perfection. So this we have to take help of devotees, how to follow rules and regulations nicely.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, you said that we should follow our Acharya and preach. But once I heard in one lecture that we should do only our authorized service.
Yes, so authorized service will be nothing but service for preaching. So preaching is a mission, just like army army fights a war, but then only few people are there on the battlefront. Others are somebody is driver carrying out the supplies, somebody is storekeeper taking charge of the store, somebody is doctor also among the doctors healing the wounded soldiers. Some people are there actually on the front fighting, but all of them are actually soldiers. Everyone is in the army. So similarly, everyone is among us is a preacher. But somebody will be required to cook so that other people can honor prasadam and go out for preaching. Somebody will be required to clean. Somebody will be required to manage. Somebody will be required to write, read, paint, code, etc. So all of them are preachers. So that is why we have to do preaching means assigned service. If designing, developing a website is required for preaching, and I have the skill, it is very important, get absorbed completely, design best of the websites, and that is actually preaching. So preaching is not whimsical, but under proper, just like commander tells, you do this service, you fight in this way, this is order for you. So under the order of the commander or our authorities, we have to execute the service. We'll finish. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki.